Aquarius. So Aquas get me, and then you'll get a 2-minute Craig talk. Right before we did this show, I asked Craig, I'm like, do you feel the weirdness in the air already? And he was like, yeah. I'm sure you all feel it. And if you don't, is that crazy? Aquarius, your first card of this week is the Page of Wands in reversed. Well, I think that this is being trouble with you communicating exactly what your heart wants, and possibly a partner not giving you exactly what you want as far as maybe communication-wise. Or maybe this is you going back on, you know, what you said or what you've said. There's definitely, especially Mars retrograde in your third house. This is like I've called you all the brutes that need to kind of, you know, communication-wise, or it's either, you know, you're barking like a dog or you're not, and you need to at least express yourself. So you don't want to bark too loud, and you don't want to not bark at all. And I think that this is a lot of like, you know, there's some unhappiness here. And there's not and it's maybe a confusing way for you to have to know how to deal with it here, or you're just not satisfied either. You did pull the Nine of Swords reverse as your challenge. You're afraid to deal with the nightmare that really is only a nightmare until you deal with it. But you know, you're kind of avoiding the nightmare here, right? Like it's like I feel like you fucked up, or you feel like, you know, it's a very high anxiety card. I feel like you're creating your own anxieties when they're not that big. I think that this is about learning to confront better about communication, and also confront that it doesn't need to go as bad as you think it does in life by just confronting. Sure, it might go in a direction that you identify as bad in your mind, but really would it be if whatever you see on the other side? And I'm saying this all because we all have to face the ultimate truth on this week of that there is a whole new world. That includes everything. So I know people get confused on this show because you're used to watching other people that do tarot. And I'm trying to show you that we all are just trying to get to the truth of whatever it is, and it doesn't mean it can't work out in life with somebody that you've been with or whatever. I'm just saying that we all have the most challenging week of our life about relationships ever recorded, ever. Now, this week. Which can bring the most glorious. But for some reason, Aquarius, like, you've got to go back and figure out like how to communicate, and also there's like, the challenge is also that you don't want to reveal that you are really going through some sort of suffering. You pulled the Hierophant reverse as your overall. You know, it's like, it's so weird. What happened, Aquarius? You're the wild one. You're the crazy one. But it's almost like you play like an old person, like an old lady, an old man. Like you're playing like the elderly card here. I feel like you need to be untraditional again. You need to like fucking get wild and have fun again. And I think that's your issues. You've just like held yourself back from the true essence of your heart, the true essence. And I think that you're afraid to do that. I think it's like you lost the edge. It's time to bring the edge back. And if your partner can't handle that, or you need to find a partner that knows how to bring that edge out of you again. Your challenge here, or your shadow is, look at this, black flower fragrance. I think that you're trying to falsify and cover that everything's good and fine. And that's what I said earlier with this Knight of Swords in reverse. Your challenge is that you're trying to say everything's fine and put a bunch of, ladies, we all know you use poopery. That means you did go drop a load. Like, dudes are not stupid. You might not want to use that stuff. That means that's the signal you dropped a load. So it's almost like that, right? It's like, oh, I don't want you to know I dropped a load. Well, it smells like poopery everywhere. You just sprayed it coming out of the bathroom. Obviously, you just dropped a load. It's like you don't want to reveal how you really feel inside right now. And that's okay. It's just exposing the vulnerabilities, however it might come out. But also, why did you pull this Page of Wands reversed? You got the Hangman reversed. Well, it's because I think that you've understood enough and you can free yourself from a lot of energy that you don't want to be in. And also this is a great moment for you to realize, is it really as bad as you think it is? Or is this the moment where you can have the freedom you want by being in the vulnerable self? But you pulled that Hangman reverse. That's awesome. I think that I think that things are not as bad as you might think they are. And if, of course, Aquarius is like, everything's fine all the time. It's like, no, you're hiding this energy that you're not satisfied with. And I think that, coming out of the untraditional, and I mean, there's a freedom moment here for you. You got the Wheel of Fortune with that, especially going back to the untraditional roots. And, my favorite part about being an Aquarius is the big old fuck you, in life, right? It's like, but also the fuck yeah. And I think that this is like finally, you're going to start to see some relief when you get back to the core of who you really are again. And you stop, it reminds me of just like, dudes will be like, it's, I'm sorry, it's my fault. Like, it's like, stop being so bitch whipped, pussy whipped, however you want to put it, dude whipped. Like, for somebody you don't want to be. I said it. Affluence. So is your partner or the person you're going out with even have any influence in life and have some sort of affluence in life? Are they creating a great thing in the world, or are they just fucking basic? Basic ain't gonna work, Aquarius. Maybe they were affluent once and they're not anymore. Look at this. You got the solar eclipse card with that affluence. This is the revolution to get back into an affluent life that's the most amazing life that's going to revolutionize and change your life. And it better feel like fortune. It better feel extreme. And it better feel affluent. And instead of you, I feel like you're connected to partnerships, or you're too afraid to show a partner and you're pooperying the whole thing, and you're, Glade plugins everywhere to a world that you don't even want to be in. And I feel that you also are afraid to just speak up for what you really want. You did pull the second house, Sag, with Saturn. Self-worth issues. But, Sag is there. So it's like, maybe you don't believe that you can have better. Maybe you believe that right now you've reached the top of the ultimate story. Or is that just your own restriction? Are you too afraid to make a choice for a better life by taking on a new open look at the whole situation at all? Just even opening the door to say, let me relook at this situation a second. Nothing is gained or nothing is valuable unless it continues to grow. But I feel like there's something that's plateaued and stopped for a reason for you to see if you want to continue to see if you're going to try and grow a tree that's grown out at its tallest or not. And I know all the single Aquarians go, well, how does that relate to me? Well, you're not creating anything because you're not willing to go into any stories. You're not willing to go into affluence in yourself. You're also pushing out maybe a persona that's not real, like, because you don't want to show the vulnerability of, like, maybe you're not at the home that you want to be in. Maybe you don't have the things that you don't want. Whatever it may be, there's hiding on both sides of the fence. I'm going to go pee now.
All right. Yeah, and what's a message that you're blocking yourself from receiving? What is the universe trying to tell you? What is this individual in front of you trying to tell you, and what are you not listening to? Is there aspects that maybe you're hiding from? You're hiding from the truth. What do they say? The truth will set you free. So it's about being open to receiving the message, whatever that message is. But you can't block the universe from presenting it to you. Once all the information is laid out in front of you, then you can decide what you're going to take. Then you can decide what you're going to believe and what you're not going to believe, And I think that comes true to all of us, in these times. What is it that we're hiding from ourselves? What is it that we're hiding from our partners? It can be tough, It can be tough being raw and truthful, especially if we're not being truthful to ourselves, And there's certain aspects of your life that, aren't going to rub people the right way, but you have to be truthful to yourself. You have to be that authentic self so that you can live in happiness, so that you're not just shying away and kind of hiding in a closet, or hiding underneath the stairs of your life, that you're not actually out there living it. Because whatever the hang up may be. You know, it could be past traumas from relationships. It could be past traumas, you know, from when you're a child, from family and everything. But that's a part of your life. You know, that's an aspect that's going to make you who you are. And there's nothing that you can necessarily do about that except facing your fears, facing the traumas, and being upfront and being honest with it and being honest with yourself. And I think that that is what it all comes back to. You know, can we be honest with ourselves? Can we allow ourselves to be happy, you know, in times where maybe there's individuals around us that aren't happy? But that's okay, because we can lift them up if we have that power, if we have that belief in ourselves that we can do that, you know, and we can. As hard as it may be to, you know, tell the truth to an individual that we love, it's going to work out, you know, because it's the truth. And they might leave. But maybe that's the time that they need to leave. Or maybe it's the time that you need to leave. Maybe it's the time that you need to step up and stand up for yourself. Whatever that is, you know, you have to live that. You have to be truthful with yourself, and you have to stand up for yourself always. Whether that's with friends, whether that's with lovers, whether that's with your family or an individual on the street, you know, be truthful to yourself and live that, you know. You have to live your life the way that you want to, because at the end of the day, you know, it's your trip. It's your ride. And there's nothing else you can do about it. You know, once we come back again in that next life, and then we're going to have to apply that knowledge that we did. But at least you have to start applying it now. You have to start listening to yourself now, so that these lessons don't just kind of bombard us, so we don't get overwhelmed in the day-to-day life. But that's a beautiful aspect of it as well. That overwhelming feeling when it comes in, that overwhelming tide when it starts to wash over us, and then we stand up for ourselves. And that could just be standing up within ourselves. And then we find that strength, and we continue to push forward every single day. We continue to fight for ourselves. We continue to fight for the ones that we love, because they're fighting for us. They're going through those same struggles just as we are. And they're dealing with their own inner demons. And once we acknowledge that, once we see that beauty within everybody that's around us, because we all do have that beauty within us, even if they look like a shitty individual, they might be, but there is still that beautiful aspect of them that they're continuing to work through. They're going to be learning these lessons this life. They're going to be learning these lessons in their next lives. But as long as we can kind of help them, even if that's a tough one too. They might not want the help. They might not be aware that they even need help. So we just have to stand up for ourselves. We just have to stand up and be true to them. Be true to the love that we have within ourselves always. That's what I think it comes back to, is really embracing that self-love and that self-appreciation every single day.